Death is not the enemy. A wasted life is the enemy. Allowing the fear of death to ruin this present moment that you have, that is the enemy.
I am William Mulligan, author of The Everyday Stoic, Simple Rules for a Good Life. I teach practical Stoicism to help you improve your life, improve your character, and become the best version of yourself. So if you're new here, welcome to the journey. And if you're old, welcome back. Today's episode is powered by Huel. Let's jump into the episode. This is 7 secrets from the Stoics to cure procrastination. And if you're watching this, it's probably because you're either interested in Stoicism or you're interested in becoming more productive and ending procrastination. Stoicism and these 7 secrets are the main source of my productivity. It is the thing that cured my procrastination. I think all of us, even the most productive people, procrastinate at some point. But these secrets are here from the Stoics to catch you. If you fall through the net, they catch you and they get you back on track every single time. So even if you fall through the cracks and you stop being productive, you stop procrastinating, they catch you in very quick time, very quick, so that you're back on track again. And that's the whole point. It's always keeping you on track, because even the greatest people, even the most disciplined people and productive people, someone like David Goggins or Jocko Willink, they fall down at some stages in their life, and if they don't have something to pick them back up, then who knows where they may end up. You know, I've met many great people for 40 years of their life. They've been super productive, they've built up businesses, and then they reach the age of 50, have a midlife crisis, a late midlife crisis, and they lose it all. They lose all motivation, they lose the will to carry on. So these tricks, these secrets from the Stoics are here to catch you. The Stoics use them themselves. Most of this is from Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. You know, Marcus Aurelius led the Roman Empire through a very difficult time. He was also known as the last great emperor of Rome during the Pax Romana, the golden age of the Roman Empire. So he did a pretty good job, and he was very sick this whole time. He suffered great difficulties, lost many of his own children before his own death. He fought in the Marcomannic Wars. He lost many people during the Antonine Plague. Difficult life, but he stayed productive. He ran his empire very well. And he wrote these secrets in his diary. So these are actually the things he did. And then some are from Epictetus, the Greek-born slave, the crippled slave turned philosopher. And then some are from Seneca. And then some are just based off of the teachings, the principles of the great Stoics, you know, the founder himself, Zeno of Citium. So the first one, simple one, is have aim. This is the first secret to be productive. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If we don't have aim, we will wander around aimlessly." And when the ancient Stoics, the early Stoa, as they're called, were talking about having aim, they often meant morally. Your aim is virtue. So to live a good life, you aim in good direction. That makes sense. But then the later Stoa start talking about living their ordinary lives, being productive, being good citizens. And Marcus Aurelius himself, when he wrote, "If you don't have aim, you'll wander around aimlessly," he's talking at the start of each day. So this is the exercise for you to do. Write down 3 things. If you got them done by the end of the day, you'll be happy, you'll be satisfied. You go, today was a good day. It doesn't have to be too big, but you know, if it's better than yesterday, then that's a good aim. And you write down these 3 goals. So it could be to get the house tidy, get to work on time, go to the gym, get the kids clean and dressed, ready for school, whatever it may be, or a business plan. Write them down and just aim to get them ticked off as early as possible throughout the day. So you already feel pretty productive, you feel good, and then this gets you on the right track. And of course, have your weekly aim, your 3 goals you want to achieve by the end of the week, your monthly aim, and your yearly aim. Something I actually use is right here. Not a journal. That's how it's structured. It's so well structured to make you be productive. It's very goal-driven, ticking boxes, which humans naturally like. So have aim. Step 2, the dichotomy of control
which if you're new to Stoicism might sound a bit strange. This was taught by Epictetus, the guy I spoke about earlier, the Greek-born crippled slave. He was crippled by one of his masters who snapped his leg. Epictetus said, "Didn't I tell you if you'll keep twisting my leg, it'll break?" So, pretty cool guy, pretty badass, very strong-willed. And anyway, he taught of this thing called the dichotomy of control. And he basically says, sounds very simple, some things are within our power, some things are not within our power. Within our power are our opinion, our motivation, our desire, and our aversion. So things that are of our own doing, the internal world. Not within our power are health, wealth, reputation, office, and these external things. So this sounds quite defeatist, and how can this be productive if my own business, my own goals are not in my power? The power resides in your inner works, in the place you decide to put your aim, the place you decide to put your energy, this kind of thing, the way you receive the world, the way you react to the world. So this is actually one of the greatest things I've ever used in life. It helps your life so much. But in terms of productivity, it's incredible. Because you think you can control all this world, all this external that's going on, that's pretty hectic, especially now. It's the most hectic time ever with all this social media and stuff like that. We're hearing way too many opinions, the news, everything. So there's so much going on and you don't control any of it. So you're normally giving 95% of your energy to this external world that you have no control over. And just imagine all the energy stressing about all this stuff, if you could just funnel it to the little bit of control you have, direct it at the first secret, the aim. So you get all this energy that you've been wasting around here. If you're audio listener, I'm just waving my hands about. So all this energy around there in the ether, in the atmosphere that you don't have any grasp over, you take all that wasted energy, get it inside you, and then put it towards the aim. It's like a shortcut to life. It's amazing. It's like a hack. It is incredible. So have aim and focus on what you can control, the little control that you do have. And this helps you be less stressed and calmer. It's amazing. The next secret from the Stoics to be productive and to end procrastination is reflection. This is really important. And you can see this, the Stoics actually talk about this a lot. I think they learned it from Pythagoras. At the end of the day, you reflect. You reflect on how your day was. And you can also reflect. So say you're about to procrastinate, right? You're about to procrastinate. Just keep in mind, reflection. Just reflect on what you're doing. So you pull out your phone, you're scrolling, and it won't get you straight. Sometimes you can fall into a trap, but a little voice says, remember, reflect. And you reflect. You go, what am I doing? Will I be happy that I wasted all this time? Will I reflect on will I get to the end of the day and go, I'm happy I doom scrolled for 3 hours. I'm happy I spent 8 hours on GTA. And that's up to you. You might actually like these things. But I think there's a point where we get too far. I've been there. I used to love playing Call of Duty, but if you play a 12-hour go, you're on it for 12 hours and then you're like, oh man, I should have actually got some fresh air. I should have worked on my goals. I should have done some exercise. But that's up to you to decide. That's your aim. So at the start of the day, when you're doing something you shouldn't be doing or you don't want to be doing, just reflect and say, will I be happy at the end of the day that I did this? And if so, carry on doing what you're doing. If not, just end it there. You don't have to cry or pity yourself because you made a mistake. Just cut it off there and get yourself back on track. It's kind of like dominoes falling. They'll keep falling unless you put your hand in your way and stop them. And where you stop them, well, you can make up all the time afterwards. And then there's the end of day reflection, which is like a summary of your day, and you think, did I use my time wisely? What could I have done better? And then that helps you do it for tomorrow. And this all helps you also reflect on your aims. So if you got through your aims that you wrote, and it also relates back to the dichotomy of control, you reflect on these things. You go, did I focus on my aim? Was my aim even good? Did it fulfill me? And then you go, did I focus on things outside of my control? Did I focus on things inside of my control? Within my power. So this reflection is very important because without it, you sort of never notice progress. The Stoics talk about this. If you never reflect on your aims, you never reflect on your actions and what you're doing, you never reflect on productivity, analytically in a way, if you never reflect on this, then you'll never notice progress. So you can just write down a few notes about the end of the day, which is actually something, it's not an advert, I swear. It's something you can do in this book, is you reflect on the day.
A quick word from our sponsor, Huel. I really like Huel. When I was writing my book, I was using Huel to power me through every single day. When I had my daily greens, when I had my meals, when I had my shakes, it stopped me from going to the shop, buying a load of rubbish, buying a load of unhealthy food, wasting loads of money. And these things do add up. Those quick journeys to the shop every day, the money adds up, the unhealthy foods add up, the wasted time adds up. So if I ever get those cravings, I grab a Huel and it fills my cravings. I feel good, it tastes delicious, it's quick and easy. And if you have any interest in the Huel products, then check the link in the description. Let's get back to the episode.
The next secret from the Stoics is to contemplate the mentor. It's an exercise. So you think of someone that's super productive or someone you really admire. This could be David Goggins is super productive and very disciplined. But the other end of this, Ian Fleming, he wrote all the James Bond novels. He actually only wrote 3 hours a day, which seems like it's quite mind-blowing. We think you have to work 24/7 to be able to produce these things. One of the greatest novels ever written. He produced more than one a year, which is unheard of. And he just wrote 3 hours a day. He got up, went swimming, did an hour and a half, spent time with his family, ate food, drank, went fishing, wrote for an hour and a half, and that's it. And he produced one of the most famous novels ever. It's been made into one of the largest franchises ever. So the point is, you contemplate your mentor. If that's the way you work, some people work differently. If that's the way you work, contemplate Ian Fleming. For example, when you procrastinate and you go, would Ian Fleming have done this? He didn't procrastinate when he wasn't working. He was clearing his head. He was living his life. He was experiencing so he could put this into his work. There's a difference. He wouldn't have sat on TikTok scrolling for 6 hours, then wrote, because his head would have been filled with all this rubbish. So he cleared his head. The same with David Goggins. If you want to contemplate David Goggins as a mentor and you procrastinate, and maybe you hear his voice in your head saying, do the work, stay hard. So it's just a simple exercise. Anytime you find yourself procrastinating, or even when you want a bit of motivation, just think, what would this person do? What would they do in this situation? And if it's David Goggins, it'll tell you to put that phone down and get to work. So far we have aim, dichotomy of control, reflection, and contemplating the mentor. The fifth secret from the Stoics to be productive and to end procrastination is less is more, which is famously taught by Bruce Lee, actually. And it's where I first learned about this. It says, hack away at the inessential. The closer to the source, the less wastage there is. And this sounds so counterintuitive to being productive, to being successful. But this success, this productivity is actually a facade. It's not real. It's smoke and mirrors. We feel like adding more to our life, doing more, actually makes us more successful, more productive. We think that acquiring is success, but it's not. The idea is you stop trying to get all these things. You stop trying to do all these things. You start focusing on all these things, and then you streamline it all, and it becomes very streamlined, and you won't realize how quiet your life should be until you start hacking away at things. Think, do I need this? Do I want to aim for this? Do I actually care about this? And you start just knocking it off, and getting rid of it. And suddenly your mind is a lot more quiet. And you're going down the aim, the channel that you've decided for yourself. My aim is to be a good teacher, a good father, a good mentor. My aim is to set up this business. And suddenly that's your only aim. That's the only thing that matters. It's easy. You're not caring about looking cool on social media, getting this car, someone's opinion, because the aim is the most important thing. Once you understand that, less is truly more. There's no more distractions. You're on this one track to your goal, rather than going bouncing around, staying off track. So, less is more. And that's clear with Ian Fleming when we talk about him writing the James Bond novels. Less was truly more. He just kept in mind his goal of writing these novels, and he had this ideas in his head, and he wasn't trying to pursue more. He wasn't, I'm going to do a James Bond this, a James Bond that. I'm going to write James Bond musical, whatever it is. He just streamlined it all. And you'll be surprised how much you can actually get done, because we, as humans, we are driven and strive for productivity, most of us, due to upbringing and society. We strive for productivity. But if we can't quantify productivity, then we just make up these equations in our head. Like, oh, if as long as I've got a pen in my hand doing something, I'm working. As long as I'm typing away, I'm working. As long as I'm on some app, I'm working. Judge yourself by your outcome. Results don't lie, as my brother famously says. Okay, so that was the fifth exercise. Less is more. That's a real secret. Less truly is more. Just remember that. The next one from the Stoics, and this is something that will change your life anyway, but it helps you be very productive, is to be present. This goes back again to the dichotomy of control, you know. With the dichotomy of control, we're focusing all our energy on these things outside of our control. With be present, normally we focus all our energy on life outside of our control. So we're either in the future or in the past, and we're focusing on all these things, giving all our energy to the future that's never happened, never will happen, and the past that cannot change. And it's also just actually a memory. It's not a real thing. None of these things actually exist. The only thing that exists is the present moment. The future and the past are just words and concepts in your head. So be present in this very moment. And it's so quiet. And most of this, if you notice, it's about calming, because we're so frantic, we've got so much to focus on that you can never truly stay on track and do what is important. And you can't aim for what is important. You can't focus on what is important. With reflection, you can't understand what's important to you, you know, because you might be doing this, going for your aim. And if you reflect once or twice a day, after a week, you might go, you know what? I want to do this actually. I've had enough reflection. I want to do something else. That's my true life calling. So being present, it will quiet all this noise about the past and the future. And if you want help with this, just realize the past is not real. It can never change. It will never change. That's a fact. You living there will drag you down in the present. The future is not real. The only thing that can affect the future positively is being better in the present, building a better present so you'll be ready for the future. And then the exercise I do in order to do this is actually, at the start I'd have a picture on my phone to remind me of this, which it comes to the final exercise actually. They're quite tying together. So I'd keep a picture of a skull or something that resembles death on my phone. And then every time you see this, you're reminded to be present. So I would maybe once an hour just say, be present, be present. And eventually you get used to it. And if you want to try it out, whilst you're listening to me right now, be present. Stop thinking about all this rubbish that's going on in your head. Stop thinking about what you're going to do after listening to me. Stop thinking about all of that. Just be present. It's okay. No one is that busy that you cannot be present for 10 seconds. Just be present, relax. And you can look around and realize life's pretty chill. It's really chill, actually. There's literally nothing going on most times. If you're like on a bus or something, there's nothing going on. You just sat there and the world is rolling by. So that is the sixth secret. Be present. And the final one, which ties in, but this is the most powerful, and the Stoics actually consider this the greatest thing you could ever do. Memento mori, which is to remember death. That's a Latin word. It means remember death, or remember you're mortal, or remember your own mortality. And the Stoics, some of them believe that the greatest thing you could ever do is get past your fear of death, because most fears are basically the fear of death. When you boil them down, they come down to the fear of death. Nearly everyone fears death, but it's natural, like the falling of the leaves in autumn. We don't fear that, do we? We can't stop this. Everyone that came before us has died. Everyone that comes after us will die. Everyone dies. It's a fact of life. But death is not the enemy. A wasted life is the enemy. Allowing the fear of death to ruin this present moment that you have, that is the enemy. So remember, memento mori. I actually use, it might be a bit blurry in the background, but Memento Mori calendars, you fill them in once a week, you fill it in, and it's just reminded that that's a week gone, and all these little black squares, and you keep ticking them in. It makes you really reflect. It like ties all these secrets together. It makes you reflect on what you're doing. It makes you reflect on what you're moving towards, the type of person you are. It makes you reflect on the time you've wasted. But remembering death, that you'll be dead at some point in your life, who knows when, remembering how precious this is. No, we're the only ones afforded this gift. The people alive today are the only ones afforded this gift. And I know that sounds like a weird concept that I've just made up right now on top of my head, but it's true. We've been given such a gift. And if you imagine, I remember reading a story about a guy, he died, and he gets to the pearly gates and he's stood in front of God, and he just begs God. He's like, I want to go down there again. I want one more go. Please give me this one chance. Anything. I want to feel it all, the pain, the hurt, the love, the loss, the excitement, the summer, the winter, the wind, the rain. I want to feel it all. I need this. And, when he goes back down to earth, he remembers this and says to himself, I begged for this. So imagine if you prayed for a chance to experience life on planet Earth with these people around you, with the world around you. Maybe on planet Mars soon. Planet Mars? Yeah, I've never said planet Mars. Planet Earth, planet Mars, planet Jupiter. Remember your immortality. I know it sounds morbid, but it's a fact of life. What is actually morbid is allowing it to make you live as a shell of the person you could be. So that is the 7 secrets from the Stoics. Have aim. Write down your aim. Dichotomy of control. Remember what's in your control, the inner works. That is it. The way you react to things, the way things you move towards, the things you move away from. Reflection. Remember to reflect on the actions you're taking and reflect on the actions that you took. Contemplate the mentor. Keep some mentors in mind. Some people that inspire you. Some people that do the right actions so you can look towards them in times of weakness. Less is more. Stop trying to strive so much. Focus on your one aim, the aim you wrote down, and it'll make life so much easier. Be present. Stop focusing on the past and the future. Wrong way around. And you'll be way more quiet. And then memento mori. Remember that you're mortal and not to waste this precious gift. And thank you for listening. If you're listening to this on Spotify or any other streaming platforms, give me a follow or a like or a subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.